Weight loss decoded. Prime Minister Modi's call to bring down obesity levels gains traction. Reduce oil intake, eat local, avoid junk advice. Why does India not label junk foods? Why is nutrition education important? Solution to excessive weight in our kitchens. Can weight loss drugs deliver? That's a top focus on Health 360 this week. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has very recently put the spotlight on obesity, and rightfully so. Obesity rates are going through the roof in India. Indians eat carb-heavy diets, and our oil intake is way above the permissible limit. Take a look. Well, everyone around us could just do a little more to be fitter and healthier and have lesser problems associated with obesity like fatty liver disease and other metabolic disorders which is linked to obesity. India is the diabesity capital of the world, which means more and more obese people, more and more people with diabetes. Now, in the context of weight loss drugs that have taken not just India but the world by storm and the obsession with them, we really want to discuss what is the road ahead for this health epidemic in the country. I'm Sneha Mordani. This is Health 360. And to discuss this further with us, I'm being joined by Dr. Ushas Dheer, who is the Director of Department of Liver Transplant at Delhi's Gangaram Hospital. Dr. Arun Gupta is a public health expert. He is the convener of Nutrition Advocacy in Public Interest. Dr. Shashank Joshi is an endocrinologist. Luke Coutinho, lifestyle guru. I'm going to thank all of you for your time here today. But the most important question is, and I want to begin by asking Dr. Arun that, how did we even get here? You know, we were a country that never ate from outside. It was a rare occasion. We ate food that was cooked at home, and now we've gone to the extent of ordering our every second meal, you know, online. Just tell us, how has junk food and the epidemic of junk food just made us so unhealthy and obese?
You know, this is not a question of actually the cooked food or the real food which we eat. Whether we order from outside or inside is not the issue for me.
Right.
So I think we need to recognize the fact that the junk food which comes in pre-packaged plastic wraps, which is made by the industry. So it's an industrial production using the same amount of nutrients of your food and adding a lot of other ingredients into it, which are like stabilizers or, you know, other stuff like colors and flavors. All that a mixture of high fat, high sugar, high calorie and high salt products, or all the three are high in one product, or they are one or two or three.
Yes.
So that actually has been aggressively marketed in the past 5 decades. Coming from the West. The West is like saturated, and I hear that the, so for example, the drinks and the food products in the West, their consumption is declining.
Okay.
So they are finding markets like India.
Okay.
So India is a huge market.
And rural India as well. You know, people seem to think that the junk food problem is a city problem. It isn't actually.
It is. So we are targeted by the industry, the food industry, which is the big industry, which is taking over everything, including the narrative to set drugs into it.
Yes.
So all that is actually, we need to look into what is causing. So what are the drivers of obesity? To tackle it, we need to understand that.
You know, labeling of food, something that we've spoken about. India has failed to do it. We've spoken about in the past as well. Why is labeling right, and why is understanding how to read those labels is important?
So when you go and buy, so for example, if you are stimulated by an advertisement to buy something, You go to the market, you pick up a packet.
Right.
Right, on the packet, on the front of the packet, you rarely see any alert to the people that this product is high in sugar, salt or fat.
Right.
Right, these are the three nutrients of concern for us, from the health point of view, for any consumer.
Yes.
So he has the right to know what is it. So front of the pack label is a must. It's not a marketing tool.
To say that this has got this much
Yes,
sugar, you know,
it's not
this
a
is high in
marketing
sugar.
tool, it's a public health intervention.
Yes. We have the information behind the packets is the problem.
Yeah.
It should be better displayed is what you're saying. If you could just touch upon a couple of examples, like Chile is something that a country we've spoken about in the
Chile,
past as
Mexico,
well. Yes.
Peru, all the Latin American countries have adopted wonderful warning labels which warn you about high sugar, high calorie, high salt or high fat just on the front of the pack in a white and a black octagon.
Right.
So most of the Latin American countries have done it. I think India should also do, because India's current direction is towards giving a star on the front of the pack.
Right.
Which recently Supreme Court has intervened and asked the Union of India to do it fast within 3 months and also amend the draft regulation of 2022, which actually goes in for star. So we are hoping that there will be a turnaround, and a lot of people, experts agree on that there should be a warning label, because stars hide what is inside.
Right.
Stars don't tell you it's a sugar is high.
Right.
Stars don't tell you, they hide. Warnings guide you.
Warnings then, there should be better warnings. I'm going to be bringing in Dr. Shashank Joshi. Dr. Joshi, you know, anti-obesity drugs, weight loss drugs, which is essentially anti-diabetes drugs, have taken the world by storm. There's a new one that we're talking about, a pill by Eli Lilly. Instead of injecting, this is a medicine that we can pop, essentially, we can consume. You know, how do you look at the market now just rushing to, you know, make different kinds of medicines for people to consume easily and you know, reach out to these medicines whenever they need to, as far as dealing with excessive weight is concerned?
So Sneha, thank you for having me here, and I think first thing is that I want to have a word of caution. Every anti-diabetic or anti-obesity medicine which came on planet Earth, particularly in obesity space, was banned due to adverse events historically. This is the first time that a class of drugs which are oral or injectable in the GLP, GIP-1 class, which are getting approvals driven by science and medicine with outcomes related to heart and others. But we need to be cautious, and you know, lifestyle is supreme. You need to eat less, eat on time, eat right, walk more. And then the oral pill of semaglutide has been available in India for the last 3 years. Then of course we have the injections of the tirzepatide recently launched, and now we have from the Lilly stable coming with another oral pill. Now remember, these are anti-crave pills. They have to be medically supervised. In cases of diabetes where it is brittle, they may replace an endoscopic procedure or a surgery, and they have to be strictly supervised. They have to be affordable and accessible, and they are a reasonable option as long as they are safe and effective. So I think we welcome innovation and new discovery as long as it is affordable, accessible to one and all, and as long as it is medically supervisable in carefully selected cases.
Yes, but the problem is, I'm going to put that question quickly to Dr. Arun before I move on, that, you know, people are just taking this as the only solution to their excessive weight gain. A lot of people who may not be even clinically obese, Dr. Arun, are going for it. You've spoken about how this is not the solution, isn't it?
I'm saying that I'm not challenging the science or the efficacy. I'm challenging the marketing part again.
Yes.
You know, both the companies have gone full page advertisements on the front pages.
Yes.
They sponsor white paper on obesity, you know, by a health organization.
Right.
So I think they are getting into setting a narrative that obesity needs drugs.
Yes.
When you label the obesity as a medical disease, you lost the whole thing, you know, because the reasons obesity is rising in India is not just an overnight thing. It's not an emergency you come with drugs. So doctors can prescribe, it should be given to under supervision to anybody who really needs it. But when you stop the drugs, the weight returns.
Yes,
You know,
that's been argued.
It is not a sustainable thing to do for obesity, I meant to say.
Right. Dr. Shashank would want to come in. Yes, Dr. Shashank, the weight returns. I know this is being disputed by many doctors, many endocrinologists who say, last week Dr. Mishra was here on the show and he said, no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't return. What do you have to say, Dr. Shashank?
No, so I think obesity is a disease. So I don't agree with Dr. Gupta there. I
Right,
do agree
right.
with him that we need long-term solutions and lifestyle has to be integrated with medical supervision. These drugs are game-changing. They have strong evidence and underpinnings with CV outcome trials. The $300 billion, $500 million have been spent. Their marketing practices I will not comment upon, but they have to be supervised by an expert and they should not be taken over the counter. That part I completely agree, and we need to be very cautious and careful in prescribing them. And also remember
Yes.
that whenever you take any weight loss medication, you need to do strengthening exercises. We need to preserve your muscle mass, we need to preserve your bone health, we need to preserve your mental health. But obesity is a disease, it's a mother of all diseases, and we need to lose fat and we need to become leaner as
It
an
is.
economy, because otherwise it will have a myriad of diseases of heart. So that's
Right,
something which
it
we
is
need to
the
recognize.
it's the mother of all diseases, and I'm going to come to Dr. Dheer in a moment from now on that, because I'm going to talk about the fatty liver issue. But before that, a quick word from Luke, who's raising his hand. Luke, please come in. I wanted to ask you about how there is a larger picture to this. You've often spoken about the missing gap in nutrition education in the country. I mean, how many people are aware of what they're putting into their body at the end of the day?
Yeah, thank you for having me. That's one point, but I need to go back to Dr. Shashank Joshi's plan. See, we
Yes.
need to understand we haven't reached this level of obesity in India because we had a lack of obesity medicine. We had an issue of lifestyle. Can the medicine play a role? Absolutely, yes. Does it have side effects? What we need to understand, if people are going to take this medicine and not change their lifestyle, the weight is going to come back again. So we're looking at a drug that can save people's life. The category where it's misused by people to lose 2, 3, 4 kilos, that's a whole different story, and that should not be encouraged. But the drug can bring down diabetes, high blood pressure, move a patient from a time-bound category to actually great health. But if the patient in
Yes.
both categories do not change their lifestyle, do not look after their gut health, strength train, learn to behave around food, because this lack of lifestyle and human behavior is what has led us to being an obese country. Now, coming to the nutrition gap, we have a major nutrition gap, not just in
course.
terms of awareness, but in our nutritional curriculum. We have two problems in India: malnutrition, which is undernutrition, and overnutrition, where people are eating too much of the wrong food, or people are eating the wrong foods and are malnourished, which is leading to diabetes, obesity, and everything else. So yes, I completely go back to our first gentleman who spoke about the policy changes and warnings. If students are not learning this at a school level, if schools are still allowing junk in their premises, if there's not a subject that can educate children, it's just a band-aid approach what we're doing now and in the future. So nutrition, we don't have to wait to reach nutrition college. There should be a basic subject in school where children learn how to read labels, they understand what makes people sick, they understand everything, like they understand history, geography, and other subjects. I believe we need to fix the nutrition gap with awareness, education, and then the right information at every level, starting from the grassroots level of children.
Yes, grassroots travel, I think, is the key word here. I just want to put in a point that, many kids, the lunch boxes have a pack of biscuits. It's hugely problematic because it's allowed by the school, and I don't think anybody cares beyond a point, because wo jaldi ho jayega, that's easy. A quicker meal is obviously deprived of all the nutrients that they require to have in. But, I want to bring in Dr. Dheer on the other problem that the Prime Minister has very recently spoken about, and that has got to do with the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which affects, I believe, 1 in every 3 Indians is what is being reported right now, including younger Indians. So you have a fatty liver in people who've never had alcohol. What's the link with obesity? What's going on here?
So first of all, thanks a lot for having me on the show. See, now in 2023, we changed this classification from non-alcoholic fatty liver disease to what is called as metabolic dysfunction associated steatotic liver disease, which we now call as MASLD. So that's the new lingo. And basically what it means is a metabolic disturbances in an individual which leads to a fatty liver. And fat in the liver acts as an inflammation point, or a point which targets our liver cells, and over the period of time actually keeps on damaging the liver without any signs or symptoms, and even these people can have perfectly normal LFTs. The reason why it happens is because liver is the seat of glucose metabolism. The more the sugary drinks, preserved food, leads to a very high spike of sugar, and liver stores that sugar in form of fat.
Right.
And that fat starts attacking. So to put it this way, in a small word, sugar is the new alcohol, I would call. So people should...
You know, and more dangerous, I would say, so because we all talk about alcohol being the, big bad thing. But how many of us are talking about sugar being the big bad thing here? Because it's an alcohol, if I can put it this way, is a known enemy. Sugar is perhaps an unknown enemy,
Yes,
isn't it?
absolutely.
Yes.
So I would like to make a note, sugar is the new alcohol.
Yes.
And I see people starting the day with a packed bag of or a box of juice. And these packed juice boxes are nothing but load of sugars. So avoid sugar in any form, whether it's a carbonated beverage, whether it is a gulab jamun, or whether it's a packed can of juice, which is perceived as very healthy.
That's right.
Again, perception should be broken.
Hidden sugars.
Yes.
How about talking about hidden sugars? Our ketchup has got sugar, but it's not a mithai, but it's ketchup, isn't it? And that too has sugar.
Yes.
So talk to us a little about also on how important, and I want to ask this to all of you, the Prime Minister has taken this matter up.
Right.
You know, the very fact that 10% oil reduction, Dr. Dhir, you would like to comment on that, that reduce your oil intake by 10%, and messaging from the Prime Minister on these issues.
It's an incredible statement from our Honorable Prime Minister that he has taken a health initiative in his statement. Yes, people are fond of eating food, and I've seen two things, especially in Indian cooking, that oil and cream makes it tastier.
Yes.
So you go out, it's a very common thing to order a paneer butter masala or a dal makhani. Now again, both of them are loaded with greasy and oily contents.
And the quality of the oil.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we try to reduce this, obviously the taste does go bad, or it doesn't attract the tongue that much, but then it becomes healthier. So again, it's a marketing strategy or a restaurant selling point. The more creamier it is, the more tastier it is. So here what I would like to enlighten our viewers is not necessarily everything that's oily or creamier is healthier.
Right.
So try to avoid it.
I want to go back to Dr. Arun on the fact that, we aren't talking enough about the problems that have been brought about by this instant, buying food online, and also the fact that junk food has been normalized in the country right now. I think when I was growing up, it was a luxury, eating out was a luxury, and it's changed. It's changed over a period of like just 20 years, so I just want to ask you, how problematic is this? If you could just put some light on that.
You gave the example of biscuits just a few minutes
Yes,
back.
yes.
Now, this is a convenience thing, right?
Yes.
So, and people think, and they've been made to think that it can replace a meal. Now, that's the difference between the junk food and the meals.
Right.
So, meals are okay when you cook at home and all, and whatever you have been using and you're culturally, traditionally, you make diets at home, right? They are fine. But larger message of, sugar, salt, and has to go. But the problem lies with when we replace meals with the junk food, which is pre-packaged, whether it's a drink or a juice or lassi or, whatever the packages are available, they're consumed like one go, there's just one lassi is
And also they're
advertised-
marketed as healthy products.
Yes,
It's
marketed
problematic.
as healthy, marketed to kill the summer.
Glucose biscuits are healthier.
yeah.
Processed juice have natural fruit when they don't actually. That's problematic. Luke
So
is back with us. Yes.
In one gulp of 180 ml lassi, for example, being advertised, you actually gulp in 25 grams of sugar.
Sugar. Right.
People don't know, they just gulp it.
Probiotic drinks in the market
So
also are laden with sugar. A lot of people have asked this, I don't want to name brands here, but probiotic drinks, which are just laden with sugar. I mean, simple old dahi works is what I want to say.
None of the advertisement, have you ever seen an advertisement telling you that this product also contains sugar?
Celebrity endorsement is another aspect that we need to talk about. But before that, Luke, the Modi diet and also the importance of messaging from the Prime Minister here. Luke.
So thank you. Yeah, I had the privilege of being with our Honorable Prime Minister twice over the last 2 months, where he has strictly spoken about his vision and asked us to create a Bharat diet which shows people that as vegetarians in our country, we can hit all our macros without being carb heavy, getting our protein, our fiber, and our fat. So we created that into the Bharat dish inspired by his inputs. He wanted us to include all of the superfoods that grow locally, use a vocal for local diet, and show people that we can hit our macros. He also threw in lifestyle tips that he wanted us to design based on his lifestyle: simplicity, exercise, sunlight, sleep, everything together. So that is now available across schools in the country, universities and households in different languages for people to use. He asked us to create sample lunch menus and dinner menus so people could refer and realize that, hey, I can do it. Because even though Garka Khana is great, there is a negative side to it. People may be cooking at home, but overcooking vegetables, deep frying too often, using the wrong quantities of oils and the wrong qualities of oils. So all of this came into the whole Bharat dish inspired by him to lead by example to the company, to the country, that we should be vocal for local, heal in India, made in India, and that lifestyle, food, and medicine have to now be complementary. It cannot be medicine alone. It cannot be lifestyle alone. It has to be everything together working in a complementary manner.
That's right. You know, Luke, one more question from you, because I want to talk to you a little about the so-called superfoods also. You know, a lot of debate on whether there are actual superfoods or not. Some say turmeric is good. There are others who say, you know, where is the data? Where are the studies? What do you think are the class of superfoods?
There are no superfoods. The moment we name a food a superfood, it just becomes more expensive for all the citizens in India. There is no magic food. Food works in synergy with each other. If I take turmeric and black pepper, I increase bioavailability. That's not a superfood. That's what the Indian tradition has always been doing. We have spices mixed very ingeniously together to get its bioavailability. The word superfood is wrong because people become dependent on it. That if I take this, it'll clean my liver. If I have turmeric shots every morning, my fatty liver will disappear. So we need to break that word of superfood, and we have to say that everything works together. They're synergistic
That's right.
nutrients that work together. But superfood is, it's a marketing gimmick for people to eventually spend more money.
All right. Bringing in Dr. Shashank, and this is my last question because we're really running out of time, because we started by talking about how, you know, obesity and the weight loss revolution here. I want to ask you, as an endocrinologist, how do you reflect on this absolute obsession that we are seeing? You know, we have one drug in the country already. Ozempic was not there, but it was already here. So many people were using it. Doctors were, you know, prescribing it. So this obsession that we're seeing with GLP-1, would you say this is just the same kind of madness that we had seen with, you know, Prozac, for example, decades ago? Dr. Shashank.
So absolutely, Snehal, I think you are absolutely right that we need to reduce the obsession and go to your doctors and ethically get them prescribed with lifestyle prescriptions. These drugs are great under medical supervision for diabetes, for, you know, some extra fat which has to be chopped off. They have anti-craving effects, but remember, they are also de-addicting drugs. The craving comes down. In fact, the food industry now is actually changing their graphs because they know that people will consume less food when they go on these drugs. But these drugs are not for everybody. They have to be clearly medically supervised and ethically driven under strict medical supervision. They may have adverse events and they are strong agents, so they should be used appropriately and correctly, and they can be life-saving. They can make, these are called disease-modifying drugs, and they are anti-craving drugs. These drugs, as a scientist, we are investigating them even to reduce addiction, for example, alcohol or food. So I think they have great potential. They have great potential for research, but they should be strictly used under medical supervision and only for the most appropriate patients, rather than being filtered out as a magic pill. And I agree with Luke that we have to do everything as complementary in one sync. I agree with Dr. Gupta when he says very clearly that we need labeling in the right place. And I think, you know, we have to ensure what Dr. Dheer was saying, that we must acknowledge our Prime Minister for encouraging and putting obesity on the spotlight and eating less oil and cutting off the fat, because we are thin fat Indians. Many Indians don't look obese, but they store more fat, and it's important to burn those fats. These agents are novel, but they still need pharmacovigilance. They are new and novel. They have been available in the world for 5 to 10 years, and we need to keep them under pharmacovigilance and medical supervision.
All right, and also look at the side effects and the side benefits as well. No obsession, but take a calculated decision on whether you should be consuming or not. Certainly only after you discuss with your doctor. Let there be no Prozac Nation type of situations anymore where you go crazy after a drug because it makes you feel good. At the end of the day, it's a medicine and it can't be popped like just like you'd be popping toffees. I don't think the analogy is right. I don't want to even talk about toffees and anything sugar, but that's what people are doing, and it's extremely worrisome. I'm going to thank all of you. It's a holistic approach to tell our viewers as far as dealing with the problem of obesity in India is concerned. At the end of the day, our figures, like I said at the outset, is going through the roof, and that is a worrisome situation. Our focus continues on weight loss, obesity. We're talking all things health. Thank you all for joining in. Thanks, viewers. Bye for now.
Thank you.